congratulations to today's daily shoutout winners. If you want to win a shoutout, leave a nice comment down below for a chance to win a shoutout in my next video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hi, I'm Lyssy, and you guys should subscribe because we are getting so incredibly close to 2 million subscribers. It would mean a lot if you guys hit that subscribe button and be sure to put the bell notification because lately YouTube has not been notifying all of you lovely people. Anyways, today guys, we're going to be talking about lost episodes of children's shows that you guys might not have known about and that have shocked me a lot because as a kid, I know a lot of you guys probably also watch these same shows, but I was always watching like Fairly Odd Parents, SpongeBob, Dora the Explorer when I was really young, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys watch the same childhood shows that I used to watch growing up, and there's a lot of tea and weird conspiracies and theories about certain episodes that have become lost and strange things that people say they've seen on these episodes that were not supposed to be aired to public television but somehow ended up going on there anyways, and some of them are just straight up creepypasta legends and theories that who knows, they might be true. Also guys, be sure to drop a like on today's video. Try to like the video using your fingernail. I think that's almost impossible, but let me know in the comments if you guys can do it. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about The Simpsons. Yes, The Simpsons, those yellow little people, they actually have like a whole theme park dedicated to them at Universal, which I love a lot. However, The Simpsons just have always scared people a little bit, and let me cover a reason as to why before I get into the lost episode tea. Basically, The Simpsons has been predicting things for years, like years on ends. They will make an episode of something predicting something or showing subliminal messages about something, and then later on they predict an actual event or thing that happened. And people are actually a little bit afraid of The Simpsons for these reasons. Like they've put some pretty dramatic like guesses out there, even predicting COVID. This episode was called the Osaka flu.
Don't worry people, we have enough vaccines for 1 child per family.
And even in this episode, they predicted the killer bees that we had a while ago. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I remember like in the beginning of COVID when it first started, that there was these like really crazy killer bees or killer wasps or something that were going around the USA stinging and killing people. They predicted that too. And not only did they predict that, but they also predicted Apple iPhones. The Simpsons predicted them in 1995 through 1996 seasons. Granted, Lisa was FaceTiming in that episode. And not only that, they predicted a real tiger attack. 10 years before the tiger would actually attack Roy and Horn during a live performance, The Simpsons featured an episode where the duo would be attacked by an actual white tiger. That is so creepy to me. I don't know how they're predicting all of these different things in their episodes, and there's so many more theories about that I can go on and on and on about, but if you guys want a separate video about that, let me know. However, the concern about a lost episode begins when a lot of people say they were watching The Simpsons one night and it randomly switched their TV to an episode about Bart. This episode was called Dead Bart. So during this episode, apparently Bart was sucked out of the window by a plane. In the cemetery where he was buried, there was headstones featuring death dates of every Simpsons guest that was ever made and that will ever be in the show. So basically what it's trying to say was that they predicted every Simpson character's death somehow, and it was really eerie and creepy to a lot of people. They also say that you can't find this episode anymore, and that's also sketchy enough that they had to take it off the TV for some reason. So the next one is called Suicide Mouse, and it's kind of terrifying. Basically, you guys know Mickey Mouse, and there was apparently an old episode about Mickey Mouse that was so dark and so bad and not supposed to be aired on TV, but it somehow got leaked around the interweb. In 1929, there was a cartoon started with Mickey Mouse called Strollin' in Town. Mickey Mouse was walking until he saw a man that looked like Mel Blanc and thought it was a toy. He was hiding under it. He then took the man's eyes out and was covered in blood, and he couldn't see until he walked all the blood off of himself. So people claim this was a really creepy, dark episode where Mickey Mouse was just walking and walking and walking. Apparently after the screen cut to black, it stayed like that until the 6th minute before going back to Mickey Mouse walking. The sounds on the screen changed and there was murmurs. It wasn't really a language being played on this episode, it was more like a gurgled cry as Mickey Mouse walked. And apparently Mickey's grin and smile on his face grew bigger and bigger and bigger the more he walked down this paved sidewalk. It terrified children. It literally traumatized people. Even adults were terrified and traumatized after watching this lost episode of Mickey Mouse that was super old and creepy. So the next next one we're going to be talking about is Dora the Explorer. So I'm sure that we all know of Dora the Explorer because, you know, who doesn't? But basically, Dora the Explorer had a last episode that made a lot of children extremely concerned. But the weirdest part about this last episode is that parents claim that they did not see it while their kids were claiming they were watching it. Parents said that they would see their kids cry and they were like, Mom, something's wrong with Dora. The parents would go check it out and they would say, no, there's nothing wrong, this is a normal episode. But all the kids were like, no, this is a real thing, like something's wrong with Dora. So the urban legend here is that only the children could see the problem with this very specific lost episode of Dora the Explorer, and the parents were just creeped out that their kids were so traumatized. So basically in this episode, when the Dora theme song started, it sounded like the theme in the earlier episode, but with many changes. Then eventually the screen flashed to Dora continuing on saying, I need your help, will you help me find something to do? You will? Come on, vámonos, let's go. Then after she got downstairs, she told her parents she was exploring, but they were not answering to her. Dora then pulled out a scribbled piece of paper and imitated the map because she couldn't find her map. Then she said she had to cross Troll Bridge. Dora then walked down a few yards and stopped where the Troll Bridge was. Then suddenly a random man approached Dora on the screen, which was not a regular character of the show. Kids were confused as to who this man was because they had no idea. And he said to Dora, do you have some money? Dora then looked at him and said, Hola, grumpy old troll, what is your riddle? Because Dora thought that this man was a troll. She had to pass the bridge to get by, when she didn't know that it wasn't a troll and that something was about to go wrong. The man then said, what are you saying, girl? Why do you always have to do this every day? Dora then said, thank you for letting me over the bridge, grumpy old troll. Then the man said, go away and die, Dora. And the whole screen flashed while Dora let a blood-crippling scream out of her lungs, and the episode said the end. Kids were so traumatized, they were worried about Dora, they did not understand what that man wanted from her. The kids who saw this episode of Dora never watched it again. The parents were confused because it seemed like a normal episode of Dora that would run all the time, and they hadn't seen anything wrong. So the next episode we're going to be talking about is the Powerpuff Girls. I actually used to love the Powerpuff Girls when I was little. Sugar, spice, and everything nice. I was a huge Bubbles fan because Bubbles kind of reminds me of myself. I feel like if I was in the Powerpuff Girls, I would definitely be Bubbles. But there is a story about Bubbles, the character I like a lot. There was supposed to be a dark, lost episode that some people claim to have seen, but I think this is more based off of a creepypasta. During this episode, they say that Bubbles looked very ill and confused and dazed and lost, and she said things and did things that she normally would never do, and people said she had a dark, low, grumbling, evil-sounding voice in this episode. The professor tried to do everything he could to help Bubbles throughout this episode, but nothing ended up working, to the point where at the end of the episode, all the Powerpuff Girls tried everything they could, and Bubbles said, leave me alone, in a dark, eerie voice, and then she blatantly dropped to the floor and the episode ended, which terrified children and concerned a lot of parents at the time because some parents claimed they actually had seen this last episode of the Powerpuff Girls. And as you guys know, Bubbles has a very bubbly voice and she has a bubbly personality, so that would be so out of character for her to do. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about the last episode of The Amazing World of Gumball. So this show I actually don't remember watching too much of. Out of all the shows I've mentioned previously, watched them pretty good amounts of time. But The Amazing World of Gumball I did not watch too much of, so I actually was surprised to hear about this story. So this animated series was not about chewing gum, by the way. It's about a cat named Gumball Watterson. Gumball has kind of like a personality for getting into trouble or getting into schemes that he gets into, but he never learns his lesson. Gumball's best friend is a fish named Darwin, who used to be a family pet until he grew legs and became part of the family. And that is kind of weird, honestly. I don't know what was going on in the show. Gumball also hates his younger sister because she is the smartest member of the family. However, people claim there is a last episode of Gumball called the Grieving Episode. And let me tell you why it's called this. It started off slow, but then switched to Gumball just crying in a classroom like never before. He sounded dark and depressed, and he was crying kind of normally until his cries and weeps became louder and more concerning throughout the episode. Eventually, after he cried for some time, the screen began to glitch on this specific episode. It glitched to something very concerning. Gumball was fine, but he started to walk, crying with his head weep down, going ah, and then it would show flashings of all the other main characters dead on the ground. And at the very end of the episode, Gumball just cries harder, and all the characters are dead. And then the episode just magically switches to an end screen. And not only that, but Cartoon Network even kind of addressed this episode. They put a video on their Cartoon Network YouTube channel addressing the lost episode, and they get to a point where it's just some chihuahuas playing an instrument. Maybe it's not just a creepypasta, and maybe Cartoon Network was trying to distract us with a funny meme. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys think you've ever seen a lost episode? Do you guys believe in them? And what other creepy episodes or theories do you guys want me to cover in future videos? Let me know, guys. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Be sure to check out my other social medias. I'll have them linked down below, guys, and be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button and make sure that your bell is turned on so you guys do not miss another video from me ever again. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.